The yelling started at exactly 7:45 that morning. I was out by the south fence, a tossing feed to my horses, when I heard her voice cut through the quiet. Like Aristi, buzzsaw, sharp, shrill, and full off that fake authority that only a certain type of suburban tyrant can muster. You have exactly 5 minutes to pack up your junk and get off this land, she shouted, pacing on the other side of the fence, her phone glued to her ear. The sheriff is on his way, and when he gets her, you're going to wish you'd listened to me. The first time I stood up, slowly dusted my hands off on my jeans, and just watched her pacing like a guard dog on territory she didn't own. Behind her I could see the neat rows of identical homes in the Brier Glenn Meadows subdivision, each lawn clipped to within an inch of its life. Her little kingdom, her HOA domain, really thought she was in charge of all this land, including mine. What she didn't realize was that in exactly 3 minutes the sheriff she kept threatening me with was me. I bought this ranch 6 months earlier, right after my promotion. 20 years on the force, beat cop to detective, then deputy, and finally sheriff of the county. And with that title came a bit of peace for myself, for 7 acres of rolling pasture, away from noise, away from HOA nonsense, and most importantly, far outside their jurisdiction. Bought this place specifically because Zete was outside city limits, older than Brier Glenn by 3 decades. This land was free, and it was mine for a while. I kept things quiet, wore civilian clothes, kept my department truck parked in the barn, just enjoyed the rhythm of rail life, horses in the morning sunshine, the porch, and nothing but silence between. Previous owner, old Bill Radford, had kept a place in immaculate shape, solid barn, tight fencing, a house with history and character. He even restored the original 1890s homestead cabin by the creek. I kept it just the way he left his thought. Cabin wasn't just a building, it was a legacy thing. Karen Whitmore, queen of Brier Glenn HOA, couldn't begin to understand. She showed up the first week, clipboard in hand, voice like a drill sergeant, marching up to my front gate and barking about how my agricultural operations were damaging her property values. I told her politely that this was private property and not subject to HOA rules. Yad think that'd be the end of it, but Karen didn't take no too well. Over the next few months, she escalated complaints and unannounced visits. Once I found her standing on my porch, arms crossed, inspecting my barn like she was a building inspector. Said my horses were too loud, my property disruptive, my fencing off-brand for her community aesthetic. She even demanded I paint my barn to match her subdivision's palette. I couldn't make this up if I tried. I put Alec on my gate. Next week, she reported to the county for creating a hostile neighborhood environment. I declined to remove the old homestead cabin. She called it a visual blight. Then came the hedges I needed, toppling them so her HOA members didn't thave to see livestock during morning walks, and of course feeding horses at dawn. Violation of quiet. Horsey tried everything short of a cease and desist. Showed her the deed, the maps, the county records. Nothing worked. She didn't care about facts, just about control. It got worse when she started recruiting others. Some of her neighbors' newer folks bought into the lies she told them. My manure pile was a health hazard, that my horses were kicking up allergens, that I was housing undocumented ranch hands. She circulated a petition full of twisted stories and sent it straight to Theconi, which, funny enough, landed right in my desk. Still, I held back, figured maybe exposure would embarrass her enough to quit. But then came the day I found her on my land again, this time with a high-end camera, zoom lens, and all. She was photographing feed bins, water troughs, even inside my truck. And when I confronted her, she said she was documenting violations. That's when she made her first 911 call. Claimed a suspicious squatter was running illegal operations. Their responding officer, Deputy Miles Hoffman, he found me in my uniform standing by the truck. Karen accused me of impersonating an officer and demanded an arrest. Miles nearly laughed in her face. Almost did too. I figured that be the end of it. But no, this morning I woke to see her car parked just outside my garage. Was back clipboard folder and recorder in hand, and this time Chev route back up her. HOA lapdog Darlene Price, 2 women in their Sunday best walking my land. Like they owned it, she strutted right up, waved that veneer round, and dialed. 911 right in front, oft, May told dispatch. There was an unauthorized man on private property, he looks like a ranch hand, she said, and the sheriff isn't present to authorize him. I didn't say a word, I just leaned on Thiefin's post, watched her drama unfold, pointed that red polished finger at him, and hissed, "You've got 5 minutes. The sheriff's department is coming, and you're getting arrested for trespassing." Her smugness was thick enough to chew. I asked her, "What makes you so sure I didn't belong here? 'Cause I know who's this land." She snapped, "It's Thekeny sheriffs. You're just the help." That engine in the distance, that was Deputy Miles again, on time as always. She started recording, thinking she was a Buto film, a gotcha moment. "Hope you enjoyed your little joyride." Shesmilled, it ends. Today's Miles stepped out of the cruiser, hand on us, his belt eyes. Scanning us both, he looked confused for a second, then saw me. I gave him a subtle nod. He knew exactly what game we were playing. Karen turned to him with theatrical flair, pointing at Melek. "She was in a courtroom drama, that's the man. She said he's been trespassing for months. Arrest him." Miles looked at me, raised an eyebrow, and kept a straight face. "Ma'am," he said carefully, "how do you know this man isn't authorized to be here?" "Gosh," she puffed, "the sheriff owns this land and he's not here." I stepped forward. Ward pulled my badge from beneath my flannelette, held it up. "Actually, ma'am, I am Thesreef, and this is my land." The silence that followed was delicious. Her jaw dropped, her phone slipped from her hand, and Darlene started quietly backing toward the car like it might teleport her out of the situation. Miles cleared his throat. "Sheriff Monroe," he said, responding to a 911 call about a trespasser appears. "The only unauthorized party here is the caller." Karen turned pale. "Wait, there's been a misunderstanding," she stammered. "I didn't know." "You didn't know I interrupted us. You never asked. You just assumed I didn't belong. You came onto my land again, took pictures, called 911, filed fouls complaints, all because I didn't fit your HOA fantasy." Miles started writing the citation. "Criminal trespassed, hound false reporting." Karen fumbled for her license. Handshaking. Gone was the HOA queen, and helpless was someone who looked ready to pass out. She whispered, "Can't we just talk this out?" Neighbor to neighbor, he looked her dead in the eyes. "You didn't want a neighbor, you wanted control, and no, you've got consequences." Miles handed her the paperwork. Darlene was already behind the wheel, and Jean running. Karen stumbled back toward her sedan like a deer in headlights, clutching the citations like they were a death sentence. She backed out of my driveway faster than she should have, and never taking her eyes off my badge. First time in months, my pasture was skeet. Again, no HOA patrols, no morning drivisher. Petition vanished. Word spread her next HOA meeting was tense. I heard, especially after a retired attorney on the board reminded everyone that trying to police land outside HOA jurisdiction was illegal and could drag the whole board into court. Karen's name Tarna Shedder, influence Egan and me. I got what I wanted, a long piece, so now when I watch the sunrise from my porch, coffee in hand, horses grazing in the distance, I smile because Karen Whitmore spent months threatening to call the sheriff on me, and she finally did. Turned out he was already home.